Let's talk about the New Orleans Mint, which we hardly ever do, right?
This is ridiculous right here. I can tell you this.
Okay.
I told you, San Francisco Mint got the new stuff.
Yeah.
They had the new things, Mint State 65s, the 81S is legendary, 80S, 79S, 80S, 81S. All the Mint State 69s are all those coins.
Okay.
Remember the New Orleans Mint had the worst of the stuff. Mint State 65 New Orleans minted Morgan silver dollars are ridiculously difficult to find, let alone a trio. As you can see, we are 1883, 1884, and 1885. All Mint State 65. Wow. Not $499 a coin.
How in the world?
$499 for the trio. Same guy that I bought the bag, who's a Morgan Dollar guy.
Yeah.
Sold off his entire old inventory.
Wow.
Stuff he's been building for years. Like I said, look at the full puffy cheek. Of course they have bag marks, because they all do. But look at that. Look at the full puffy cheek that you see on that 1883. You just don't see that on New Orleans minted Morgan silver dollars. You may find Morgan silver dollars from the New Orleans Mint. What you do not find is, like I said, full cheeks. What you do not find is certified Mint State 65. Now, in terms of certification, there are 4 major grading companies: PCGS, NGC, Annex, and ICG. Those are the only 4 recognized grading companies that you can buy and trade and sell sight unseen across the entire numismatic world. And I have never done a Mint State 65 New Orleans minted Morgan silver dollar in Mint State 65 at this price. It's just absolutely insane. Now, right here on the back of the coin, I just turned over the 1885. Right between the D and the O and dollar, right above that is the O or New Orleans mint mark. The last New Orleans mint marked Morgan silver dollar was made in 1904. The first one was made in 1870. Look at that coin. Look how clean that coin is on the reverse. No bag marks on the reverse. Look at that coin. And from the New Orleans Mint, they are usually never fully struck. You see a lot of Mint State 60, 61, and 62 New Orleans minted silver dollars. What you do not see is Mint State 65 certified. And what you particularly don't see is those coins at what, $167 a coin is ultimately what it comes down to, at $167 a coin. So even less than the 1881 when we're doing the trio, these are all the New Orleans that I have. I have far lesser of these than I had because they're far more difficult to get. But you could just see how desperate this guy was to raise funds to do this palladium purchase based on the pricing that I did this at. When we were doing this, I said, hey, based on current market, I could easily go like $699 for this. Look at that coin right there. Look at that 1884. Look how clean that coin is. Look at how fully struck the cheek is on that coin right there. That is truly a spectacular 1884 New Orleans minted Morgan silver dollar. As you can see, absolutely 100% not reprinted, restruck, or redone in any way, shape, or form. It is 100% original. It comes with this beautiful presentation box as well, so that you can put the whole thing in. That's what we call a steel case box, because it's made out of steel, that you're going to have. So to be able to get these 3 coins, if I did them individually, I was going to do $199 a piece. So like I said, $5.99. I said, let's just do the trio. I don't have that many. I have approximately equal amounts of each on this. So let's go ahead and do this at a price that's unlike anything I've been able to do before. So first of all, we have Morgan silver dollar. Regular issue Morgan, last made in 1904. Okay, 1878 to 1904. The fact is the vast majority of all Morgan silver dollars ever made by the United States government have been melted down. The vast majority of those that remain are circulated, those are the ones that people always see that you got from your grandparents or whatever the case. Of the coins that remain in collector quality, Mint State 60, 61, and 62 dominates the grading, followed by Mint State 63. And then when you look at that, I mean, that is just absolutely stunning, that 1885. I mean, you just look at the frost. I mean, usually it's just impossible to get a Morgan silver dollar, an 1885 Morgan at that quality for the 1885 at $167. And then by the time you get in New Orleans Mint, 1864 or in Mint State 64, once again, now you're paying $170 to $200 for Mint State 64s. But in New Orleans particularly, Mint State 65s are almost impossible to find. There's probably a handful of them I've ever offered in the 15 years I've been here, let alone, and none of them I've ever offered at a penny less than $299 on a per coin. And look how beautiful. I'm going to pull that coin out. Okay. That coin is just absolutely positively stunning. You just do not see a coin that well struck, that fully struck, that incredible in ICG, in any certified coin. I'm going to flip over the reverse. Look at that coin. They're right there between the D and the O and dollar. Above that is the O for the New Orleans Mint. Like I said, it's been out of commission for over 100 years. These coins are truly, absolutely amazingly stunning from a defunct American mint. They are special coins, extraordinarily limited. I have a primetime show tonight. We are likely to sell out the balance of these.
Want to make sure, as you're seeing these now at 621-731, that you go ahead and get them now. If you are at all thinking, I've got to add that to my collection, please don't wait. Now, we talk about our